Hi, it's Kylie Coo. Welcome to my studio. So, I'm actually working outside today. We've been having a bit of a heat wave here, and it's such a nice day that it was too hot to work indoors, and I just want to lap up this sunshine and this lovely weather. There's a bit of a breeze today, which is nice. Now, the only thing is, you're going to get a lot of shadow. I could almost do the kind of hand shadow thing. Anyway, enough of that. A couple of weeks ago, I posted some pictures on Instagram of some art cards that I'd made, and an Instagram Facebook friend, Donna, asked me if I would show how I made them. So this is a way to make these sort of art cards in bulk and fairly quickly, really, and I'm going to be using them to go out as Happy Mail. So yeah, I'm going to use them for Happy Mail. So I'll put some photos in of those previous ones that I made, and I'm also going to insert a little bit of footage that I've just taken on my camera of the plants that are kind of surrounding me. I've pulled my table out a little bit further just to try and get rid of the shadow up here, but you know, I hope you'll bear with me. As I say, it's such a nice day, I just wanted to be out here. So I'm using a sheet of this A2 paper. It's £140 in weight, or 230 grams, and it measures 16.5 inches by 23.4 inches. So I've taken out a sheet of that. I'm going to be working on that with my jelly plate, and also just with a selection of mainly craft paints. I'll come on later to use some stencils, but the rest of the video I'll do a voiceover, because I'll probably speed this up a bit, because it'll take a little while, not too long, but it'll take a little while, and probably best on maybe double speed. Again, apologies for the shadows, but I do hope you enjoy this. So the clematis here, which is above me, has just gone past in terms of flowering. The bees were loving that a week or so ago. Then come down to here, we've got this absolutely magnificent fuchsia. And the sky today is so blue. So making my way round, and towering above me are these beautiful white roses. They are iceberg roses. You come down, and in here somewhere is another clematis that flowered earlier on in the spring. Nice little bit of a breeze today. I'm just walking along a bit, and then we've got the magnificent honeysuckle, and the scent from that is stunning. So that's kind of what's round about me just now. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that little bit of my garden today. Now, these are images from a few weeks ago when I was making the other lot of art cards that I just posted on Instagram. And in a second I'll do a very quick flip through of those cards. I'd already done this a week or so ago, just in case I was going to show it. And I'll do a flip through of the cards that I'm making today at the end as well. So I called these Faded Memories because I wanted the images to be kind of faded, not to be clear, you know, just like that kind of hazy memory that you sometimes have. So I did like the way these turned out, and a number of these have already gone out as Happy Mail. So here I am today with my jelly plate. I did try to clean some of the grunge off it. It was getting so thick at times. Now, because of the shadows, it was quite hard to see the names of the colours. So what I'm going to do is I'll put a full list of all the colours that I used underneath. But basically I've got my large sheet of paper, and I've got my jelly plate, and I've just put a couple of colours on there, and all I'm going to do now is just to kind of slap that down. So I've got this on double speed at the moment. And you know, I'm kind of getting every last piece of paint off there, and you'll see I even take the roller again, just roll that across and put it down. I was trying to make the colour of these cards slightly different to the first lot that I made. They turn out to be not dissimilar, but I did use different colours. So this paper is actually, it's a mixed media paper, and this side has a slightly textured feel to it. The other side is quite plain, but it's a nice heavyweight paper, ideal for doing this type of thing. So just going to take a bit more colour now. That was actually a neon green. I do like to use a bit of neon in these cards. Although neon always sounds very bright, it somehow, when layering the colours up, it seems to go into the background a bit, but there's sufficient there that it kind of just gives that little pop in places. So I do spend a lot of time doing this. You'll see that I do go on to use different colours, and that's just my other drop sheet that's underneath, so I just try and get any overhang from the jelly plate onto that, and just using the roller on the paper as well, just to get really every single piece of paint off. So digging out some more paints here. That's just a temporary thing that I keep them in. When I have paints out, I pop them into that with the intention of then putting them all back where they should be going, but they don't always make it back when they should. So I've got a couple of blues here. I think one was a kind of turquoise, and now I'm just going to start going over the top with this. So all I'm doing is building interest by, you know, building layers of colour basically. And once I see this one in place, I realise that I'm slightly less keen on one of the greens that's sitting underneath, so I do go over that quite a bit. So two colours of the blue there. I'm not trying to mix them on the page. I want to try and keep them a little bit different so that that does show up on the paper. Now I was amazed at how quickly the paint was drying. I mean, it was almost drying instantly. No heat tool required today, which is very unusual. So this is a big sheet of paper, so it does take quite a bit of paint to do this, but if you can imagine, if you were sitting doing that with individual pieces of card, you know, to get this number of cards, then you'd still be using a lot of paint. So I'm going back to that original colour of green. Although I didn't like it much underneath, I do want to try and get an even set of colours across the page. In the way that when we're making ATC cards and we make a series, you know, we number them. So if we make 6 cards, we'll say card 1 of 6, card 2 of 6, etc. I've decided that with these postcard sets, I'm going to do the same. So for that reason, I want each card to be similar, to be different, but to have similar qualities in terms of the feel, so the colours that I use and that kind of thing. So I've actually increased the speed now to 4 times because that was kind of repetitive, as is this bit, but I think you can see what I'm doing. So I've taken some paint again on my jelly plate and I've taken the stencil over it and now just stamping down. And then I actually use the brayer on the back of the stencil as well, just to pick up some of the colour as well. I've put this next layer on a bit thicker. the paint was drying so quickly. This paint is actually a kind of transparent paint, so I like it because it doesn't block out too much of the colour underneath. And I used this as a kind of contrast to the colours that were already there. So it's a bit darker, but as I say, because it's transparent, it's still allowing a lot of what's beneath to show through. And again, this is just about building up interest and building up layers. So now I'm going to take another stencil, and you know, you could do this with as many stencils as you wanted. You could take stamps and stamp onto it at this stage. But I'm taking this gold colour now and just going through the stencil in various places on the card. I know that I'll get somewhere between 16 and probably 18 cards. I couldn't remember what size I cut them last time, but in a moment you'll see me actually measuring a kind of standard postcard and then just deciding the size that I'm going to cut these. And I think I get 16 this time. I think last time I maybe got 18, so I must have cut it slightly differently or to a slightly different size. But just going all across that card, ideally what I want is a bit of every colour and a bit of all the stencils on each and every card when it's done. And just taking the excess gold there and braiding it on. So I now want to add some black, not too much, but just taking this other stencil and just using a cosmetic sponge again and going through that. And again, just being mindful that I want a little bit of this on each of the cards that will be cut from this large sheet of paper. And just about there with that. Now the next stage is the kind of scary stage. It's will I or won't I? But as I did the last time, I decided that I would put some white paint over it now. I just want to brayer some white paint over it lightly. And this is just to kind of knock some of the colour into the background, but also to give, as I say, I'm calling the series Faded Memories, or this will be Faded Memories 2, and it's just to give that slightly dreamy type effect to it. If any goes on too thickly, I just rub it a bit with my hand. Now I could have left this out and the cards would have been nice without that, but as I say, I just wanted that. So I'm measuring that kind of postcard 5.5 inches by 3.5, and I decide that's the way that I'm gonna, or the size that I'm going to cut these. So I have this A4 sized guillotine and I'm just going to cut that, and sorry, my head does get in the way a few times here. And the little bits that are left over on the edge, those will be used just for background material. And that little one will become a tag. So I have my cards cut, and what I'm doing now is I'm going to stamp them. And I've dug out, as I said, I think I've got 16 cards here, so I dug out 8 stamps, and I'm going to do 2 of each, but I'll always put the stamp in a slightly different place. Now, as I said, or at least I think I said, I'm using an ink pad that is starting to go slightly dry because I do want the image to be kind of faded in the background. Couldn't find my big acrylic block, so just using the top of the ink box as a stamp. That one was just too faded, so I just do it again. And you'll see with each of the cards there, they're similar colours and each one is picking up a bit of the stenciling. And I'm pressing down quite hard because, as I say, the ink pad is fairly dry, so I am having to press down to get that image. So now that they're all stamped, what I'm going to do is I will round the corners on them all. Then I'm going to take my other StazOn ink pad and just go around the edges on them all, just to take off the white edges. I then take this Sharpie pen and I just put some dots on each card. Now, what I intended to do but forgot to do, but I'll show an image towards the end, is to actually put some little bits of washi tape on. So I just dug out a few washi tapes that I thought would go with the patterns on here, and I just added them. So you'll actually see that when it comes to the flip through of these cards. I don't know why, I just like the little dots on each. And that's my cards done. So I hope you've enjoyed working here in my garden with me rather than indoors. I'll do a flip through of these once we're indoors. There's too many shadows to do that here, but I hope the film actually turns out okay because the sun is bright, it's hot, and there are a lot of shadows being cast by the plants and other things. But I'm going to call these Faded Memories 2. That's what I called the first set, and they've got a slightly different colour to the first set, but I'm pleased with the way they turn out. I call them Faded Memories because I deliberately stamp with an old ink pad so that it's not going to be too bright, too bold. So yeah, I hope you like them. A fun way to spend an afternoon in the garden, and a good way to make quite a lot of cards at once. Oh, there's a nice breeze getting up now. It's very welcome. So yeah, I'm going to do the flip through back in my studio, and I hope you enjoy this, and see you again soon. Bye for now.